Nicolas is a speaker at a lot of already different conferences, and today he will speak about new framework. If you heard that in front end there are a lot of new frameworks, almost like each year we have a new framework. So Qwik is one of the most popular new frameworks. Qwik, and I would say Astra as well. Yes, but we don't know a lot about them. And at conferences and big conferences now, people started to speak more and more about them. So you can look, maybe you will like Qwik and its ideas of this framework. So welcome, Nicolas.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi everyone, thanks for coming to this presentation. So today I will speak about Qwik, and more specifically about Qwik for the win. Build your first application with confidence. So to be honest, I create my demo today. I migrated during the day on Bun, and now I cross the finger that all work together. Right? So yeah, little things about me. My name is Nicolas. I'm a developer advocate and senior staff engineer at Sphere Luxembourg. As in Basilica, I'm a Google developer expert in Angular and in web technology, mainly in the web performance and DevTools streams. And if anyone in this room know ng0, no, which is a UI Angular library, I'm also the maintainer of this library. Yeah. So what we will see today, we will remember the good days of server rendering and server-side rendering, because that's we create the best application with server rendering, right? We'll see after what is iteration and what is the concept of resumability, because Qwik is based on this concept. And I think it's a good idea to understand what really are iteration and the specific types of iteration before understanding what is resumability. Okay? And after that, we will see what is Qwik framework, how works with Qwik frameworks, and I create a little demo. Before beginning this talk, I think little terminology is important. So is anyone in this room know what is server rendering? Yeah. You know? Okay. So just to be honest, server rendering is just displaying an application into HTML on the server. Okay. Who in this room know what is server-side rendering? Yeah. So just to remember, server-side rendering is the goal of server-side rendering is to render a client-side application or a universal application on the server. Okay. For that you can use Next.js, Nuxt.js, Angular Universal, and finally, two things. What is client-side rendering? Is anyone in this room know what is client-side rendering? I think yeah, everybody create application, every day we create application, and application generally created are client-side rendering. So it just render an application in the browser using the document object model representation. Okay? And finally, what is pre-rendering? Is anyone in this room know what is pre-rendering? Yeah. So yeah, pre-rendering is just a snapshot of client-side rendering at a specific time of your application. That's generally when the application. So yeah, web app history. First, server rendering. So when we create application, we create server rendering application, and so yeah, the goal of server rendering is to display HTML page during a request, after a request, and generally this request is a navigation, right? So little bit JavaScript, and with that we have large performance application, but the problem is we have duplicate logic because we create the server and we create the same logic with JavaScript thanks to jQuery or something like this, or pure vanilla JS, and the development was very slow. Okay. Then we will have client-side rendering. So yeah, all the So less server load resources because we just download a main TS file or a main JS file, and we just download an index HTML file, and all the logic, data fetching, templating are managed on the clients in the browser rather than on the server. So we can approach the performance of server rendering with client-side rendering if we have a little bit logic and if we avoid a lot of round trips before the server and the clients. Okay? So if we take a look, we can see that client-side rendering and server rendering complete each other. They are not enemy, they are friends. And is it possible to mix on the same application client-side rendering and server rendering? And of course, the answer is yes, because with JavaScript we can do everyone. Okay, so yeah, with server rendering, it's a mix of client-side rendering and server rendering, and with that we'll have a fast initial load. Okay, but the problem is we will have a delay of interactive, and yeah, the performance will be improved, but not all the performance. Okay, so generally with server-side rendering, we will have LCP, which is a metric of core web vitals, largest contentful panes, and the QL layout shift will be yeah, improved out of the box. But unfortunately, now the INP metrics will not be improved out of the box. Okay, before that it will be FID, first input delay, but first input delay does not make sense anymore, so it will be replaced in March by INP metrics.
What is INP?
So INP metrics is interaction to next span. So just to remember, FID is the first input delay. Okay, so it's the first interaction of the page. How the first interaction of the page takes time. Okay.
Interaction, I mean clicking on it?
Yeah, when you click on it,
yeah.
And when the first line of your JavaScript code will be executed. Okay? But the problem with that is maybe when you click on the button, maybe the page will not be loaded at all, or not totally. So generally 90% of the users navigate to the application after all the application is loaded. So now INP, interaction to next panes, is a metric that calculates the times when you click on a button, when you have an interaction, and when the first iframe, the next pane is rendered. Okay? It makes more sense, to be honest. Okay, but so, I'll explain, INP is not improved at all with the server-side rendering. So the future is, or was, because it exists frameworks before Qwik, it will be Wiz, which is a specific technology at Google, and now, thanks to Angular v18, that was released yesterday, Wiz and Angular will be friends. Okay. So the future is performance totally improved thanks to the frameworks, and we will have a fast interactivity. So you launch your application and you can click on it immediately. How works server-side rendering? Because it's important. So as I said, first maybe you navigate to a specific URL, and the browser will ask to the server the page to display it for this URL. Okay, so the server responds a specific HTML file. Okay, but this HTML file does not contain it does not contain at all the JavaScript. Okay, and at this moment the browser displayed a page. Okay, but this page is without JavaScript. Okay, it's pre-rendering. Okay, so at this moment you have something on the screen, but if you click on it, nothing happens. Okay, because there is no JavaScript. So he displays something, and during the display he will download the JavaScript. Okay, and after that, when the JavaScript is downloaded, you can interact with the page. And at this moment, the page is totally, you can interact with the page as you do. Okay? So, the code of retrieving the JavaScript and associates each DOM element, DOM node with a specific function of JavaScript is called iteration. So iteration is just a technique that converts a static HTML page provided by a server-side render into a dynamic page using client-side JavaScript by attaching event handlers to the HTML elements. Okay? To be honest, it's quite complicated to do that. There is no magic in browser, so if you want to do that on yourself, okay, by yourself, sorry, it's very, very complicated. So my advice is please use a framework that already exists like Next or Nuxt, but don't create your own iteration. It's possible, that's true, but it's very complicated. Okay? Let's take an example. This is just a to-do list. Okay, so the problem with iteration is when you create an application, you create an application for the price of 2. The application into HTML and the application into JavaScript. So as I said, first we download the HTML files following a specific navigation. Okay, and in this HTML file you can see that you have your lists, right? But you have also the data. You see here. So these data are totally static, and these data are present just to render the list correctly. Okay. Then, if you can see that you have a specific script here, and this script is the entire logic of the to-do list. Okay. So at this moment, to be honest, you download the application twice. The first time you download the application totally static, and the second time you download the application dynamically, thanks to the bundle.js file. Is it okay for everybody here, right? So yeah, after the bundle.js is totally downloaded, parsing, and executed, your application becomes interactive. So the problem, I think you understand it, the problem with iteration is the time of interactivity, or the time before the page becomes interactive. So, of course, because in JavaScript we are the best, we create 4 kinds of iteration. And each kind of iteration have a specific advantage and disadvantage, but they answer to a specific feature. So first, streaming server, oh, it missed an E, sorry. So streaming server rendering. What is streaming server rendering? So imagine, when you create streaming server rendering, you will send to the browser the HTML file by chunk. And when the browser retrieves the chunk, immediately it will make it interactive by downloading the specific JavaScript associated to this HTML chunk. Okay, so yeah, it iterates the application by chunk. Okay, this is streaming server rendering. Okay, progressive iteration. So progressive iteration is quite nice. That's true, because first time I read the progressive iteration, I said, okay, this iteration solves all the problems, but of course not. So progressive iteration is to iterate the page lazily. So when I said it iterates the page lazily, I don't say that the application don't need JavaScript or will not load the JavaScript. It will download the JavaScript, but in async way. Okay, it will download the JavaScript when the user interacts with the page, and this interaction can be of any kind. It can be a mouse hover, it can be a click on a button, and yeah, it can be what you want. It's just an interaction. So with that, we can see this is perfect, right? Because we can see, okay, something happens to the browser, and when I click on a button, it will iterate my page progressively, right? But the problem is, when you create a client-side application, you create a tree, right? So all application, all client-side application are about on this concept. It's a tree of components. Okay. So when you click anywhere in the page, we don't know where you are. So at this moment, you will download all the JavaScript. Okay. So progressive iteration will work with a shallow tree, but not with deep tree. Okay. Other things on progressive iteration, if you make a lighthouse audit, you will have a good LCP score, you will have a good CLS score, but unfortunately the interaction, the impact on the interaction will be huge, okay? Because when you click on something, we don't know where the user is, and he will download maybe the parent JavaScript, maybe he needs the parent JavaScript to refresh something or refresh the list on the child, etc. So yeah, quite complicated. Trisomorphic rendering is when you can have a service worker when you create, to be honest, it's just when you create a progressive web application. So service worker, so trisomorphic rendering, sorry, is when you can have a service worker between your clients and the server. Okay, so at this moment you will have the feeling of client-side navigation. Okay, because when you click on something or when you navigate on the page, first we'll check on the service worker if the page exists. If it's not, the service worker asks to the server responds to the service worker caches the page, and then he sends the page to the client. So thanks to that, if you navigate to the whole application, at a moment you will have the feeling of a client-side application, right? But this will work only if you can share components, navigation, and logic between the clients, the server, and the service worker. Okay? And my favorite iteration is partial iteration. Angular 18 will use partial iteration. Before that, it will destructive iteration. So destructive iteration is just he has the page, and after that he downloads the JavaScript and it destroys all the logic, all the view, and recreate it. This is the destructive iteration. But partial iteration is based on island architecture. So yeah, partial iteration is just iterates some specific island of dynamic. So it's easy to understand when you create an application. Generally on a page you have some static content and some dynamic content. If you take a look of maybe Amazon here as a website, you will have some static content which can be the header, but the list with the photo is dynamic. Okay, so at this moment we can create an island for a static island for the header, and we can create a dynamic island for the contents. Okay, and partial iteration will just iterate the island, the dynamic island. Okay, so static island is just HTML, and dynamic island is JavaScript and HTML, but JavaScript which is capable to iterate itself. So a problem with partial iteration is based on, as I said, island architecture. Island architecture is a quite complicated architecture to create, and that's why we have already two frameworks based on this architecture. Astro is based on island architecture, and Astro is quite easy to understand. It's just a CMS, and you can create a page thanks to components that is created in other technology like Vue and React. And Wiz is a frameworks from Google, which is based on the quite same concept. So it's interesting, but now, sorry for that, iteration is pure overrated, to be honest. Who does React here? Yeah, so iteration, I will create a new sentence. Iteration is pure overrated like virtual DOM. Yeah, why iteration is pure overrated? So the hard part of iteration is to retrieve the what and the where. The where is the button, okay? So, and what is the closure of the event handler, okay? And the goal of iteration is to associate the what and the where. And this is the most important part of the iteration and the most difficult part too. And what is complicated is what is divided in two parts. The first part is the state. So what is the state? The state is what we understand by state. It's just a state of your application, okay? And you have the framework states. So what is the framework state? Framework state is not exposed normally it's not exposed to the user. Framework state is just to understand, this parts of this node is older and we have to refresh it. Okay. First framework that expose the UI, the framework state would be AngularJS, thanks to $root scope. So this is not normal. Framework state have not to be exposed to the user or to the developer. Okay. So why iteration is overrated? Because first we download the HTML as I said, then we download a ton of JavaScript which is in imperfect network condition is very slow. Okay, so generally when you create a client application, the problem is maybe if you are in South Africa, you have no network generally, and maybe your application will never be displayed. Okay, because it takes too much time to download the JavaScript. And then when you have downloaded the JavaScript, you parse it, you execute a ton of JavaScript, and on a mobile device it's very slow because you have to instantiate a web view. Okay, and after that it traverses all document object model and associates the event listener, okay, with the correct node to create the interactivity. Okay, so the sweet part is the we can call that the recovery of your application. Okay, and this is unfortunately when we see that we can just optimize all these steps, the 3 steps, because the browser, the server have all the information. The server have the information that which node is associated to which event handler of function in JavaScript, right? But the problem is when he sends the HTML, he discards all this information. So he has information, but he doesn't send the information to the browser, and that's why you have this. Okay. So to improve this, first we have to serialize all the required information. So we have to find a way to serialize information when the index.html file is sending to the browser, to say this button is associated to this part of JavaScript. Okay. Then we have to create a global event handler. So a global event handler is just a function which relies on event bundling to intercept all the events. Okay. So the JavaScript sending to the browser, okay, so will be just 10 lines, and it's just a global event handler. Okay, but the key of resumability is the factory function. Factory function is a function that lets you to lazy load just the parts of JavaScript you need to iterate and to create the interactivity of the interaction of the user. Okay, this is factory function, and if you do that, congratulations, iteration. This is HTML, downloading of JavaScript, and by listener. And resumability is just get HTML and it's finished. Yeah.
So we download JavaScript for each button independently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as soon as we hover on it or something like this, it should be downloaded.
Yeah, depending of the interaction, but yeah, imagine you have a button. When you click on the button, you will download just the specific JavaScript you need to interact to respond to the interaction to the user.
What about latency?
Sorry?
I mean, you still need to make a network request then, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of
Yeah. Of course, if I understand your points, of course, if you have no network, it doesn't work.
no. My point is that, like, you know, when you click on the button, it will be like freeze for half of a second or so. No.
No.
Okay, then-
I will show
Yeah,
you
sure.
the demo.
Okay, now.
Yeah, so Qwik was created by the creator of AngularJS and Angular itself. It's with Misko Avery. So I think this guy loves creating framework, I think. So yeah, Qwik is just a navigation of resumability, but now it's also a framework, a complete framework. Okay, and Qwik is stable now, so you can use it in production and in your client or in your work if you want. I don't know, but I already created an application in Lombard National Assurance in production, and it works very well. So yeah, why Qwik was born? First, because JavaScript is a problem. Okay, but it's not your fault. Okay, it's the fault of the frameworks, to be honest, and it's the fault also to the business. And Qwik is a solution for your problems. So why JavaScript is the fault and the business is also the problems? Because business wants more and more interactivity in the application, and interactivity is just JavaScript. So at the end, you need more JavaScript. Okay, so we had a lot of JavaScript, and even if the JavaScript is minified, at the end we have a large bundle. Okay. Yeah, all is question of performance. Okay, so don't blame the developer for what the frameworks do. It's important, and good performance offers good user experience. So honestly, improve the user experience, because if you don't improve the user experience today, it's very easy to go to the competitor. Just take an example of Spotify or Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. If you don't like, or maybe if the performance of Amazon Music, you don't like the performance of Amazon Music, it just unsubscribe to the subscription and go to the competitor. So please improve the user experience by improving the core web vitals. It's very important. Yeah, I love performance. And finally, many apps have poor performance and does not respect core web vitals today. Sorry, connect.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, so just a little bit mathematical operation of performance. So the bundle size depends of the marginal size, the content size. So generally the marginal size is around 2. Content size is your content size. So if your application is very big, the content size will be very big too. And you have a constant size, and generally the constant size is 1 megabyte. No, yeah, 1 megabyte. With Qwik, O2 n complexity will become just O2 1. So yeah, because this will be 0, right? Because we have no JavaScript initially, so we just have the constant size, and the constant size is what is just the global event in there, and this global event in there just is the size is 1 byte. So
1 byte or 1 megabyte?
1 byte.
1 byte.
No. Okay.
Hydration.
And yeah, sorry for that. So, if you are familiar with React, it will be very easy to create a Qwik application. To be honest, okay, this is just a component of this is just a header components writing in Qwik. So to explain how to create a component, it's just a function. Okay, wrap in a component function. So yeah, this function with the dollar is to explain that this part will be created on the server and iterated after. Okay. So I create just a counter. I use a signal here because you can this lets you to have interactivity, sorry, and I return a button name, and when I click on it, you see on click, I will download just the specific part of JavaScript, which is counter.value. I increment the counter.value plus plus. Okay. This lets you quick to create a specific chunk of JavaScript just for this line. Okay. Yeah, so now Qwik is a complete framework. So of course it's based on React. So you have hooks. Okay. Qwik is based on hooks to manage lifecycle of a components like React. You can have forms. So Qwik have also built hook to create form with a validation out of the box. Routing. So thanks to Complixity, so it's a folder routing like Nuxt or Next.js, okay? And yeah, this is my best feature for me. I love this feature, is React bridge compatibility. So if you find a package very useful in React, you can use it in Qwik, okay? And that's very fabulous. Okay, let's go to a real app demo. Yeah, so, okay, sorry. Okay, so of course it's based on Vite. Okay, it's a new module bundler. Everybody know Vite. Okay, so yeah, how it works. So yeah, the package manager and the platform is Bun. I try to I set Qwik with Bun just for testing. It's time for testing. So the application is here. Yeah. So so if you take a look here, I think maybe bigger. If you take a look, yeah. Let's take a look here. So yeah, I will download okay, some interaction, some JavaScript. It's true, okay. But what is important here is I download this. My main page is here with my CSS, etc. And if I clear here, I will go to my list. Let's go to the list. So a lot of things fetching, that's true. Just for the image, because all the image are downloaded. It's an HTTP URL. That's why we have a lot of things, and we have also icon and some specific React things, because I try the bridge between React and Qwik. Yeah. So now what is important is when imagine now I click on the dots button. If I click on it, what we will see is I just download this part of JavaScript. Okay, so this part of JavaScript will not be loaded initially. Let's have a new look. So my name is Nicolas, last name, email, so now if I submit this person, okay, so yeah, of course this person is here, I'm happy, and we can see that I download this JavaScript file. Okay, why? I download this JavaScript file. I download this parts of JavaScript file also. I download this parts of the application. So why I download all this logic? It's important because simply because all my logic are on provider, right? So when I click on a button, it will download the JavaScript file needed, so this file, but this file depends on another file, so it will download this other file, just what I need, etc., etc., by cascading. Okay. So let's have a look now on the code.
Can I have a question related to this state? So you don't have a client state, but you you have a state on the server side. So if you add a new user, in your case, it will be added on the server side, and you just render it on front.
Yeah.
On the client.
Yeah, yeah. And what is important, you can see, I will show you just of that. So the application is here, so you have your root. My main root is on index.ts, and then I navigate to the random, the random path. And in the random path, I have a function hook. It's a hook, custom hook. Use random person. I use signal. I use task. This is like use effect hook in React, but in Qwik is use task, and use task is happen on the server. Okay, so I retrieve my person, and yeah, here I scoped my style just for these components. I use my custom hook, and I retrieve my person. So the dollar expression here, it's very important because it's lets you to Qwik to say Qwikify this function. So what is Qwikify? Qwikify is just saying to Qwik, please create a specific chunk for this function. So it will create a specific JavaScript chunk for this function thanks to just the dollar function.
Sort of telling it lazy load.
Yeah.
Looks like jQuery.
Yeah.
What kind of debugging experience do you have with this?
Yeah, it's quite complicated to debug, but Minko does the things very easy. So the script for debugging is already created, and you have exactly to configure your IDE if you want to debug a server. So yeah, the debugging is quite smooth. What is important to see is the integration with React. So that's why we have a react.ts file downloaded, because all the page, all the cards, all the things here. So if you take a look, this is material card in React, this is material button in React, etc. And so yeah, the goal of that is just to implement the material UI React library in Qwik. And the integration is very easy. So it's exactly what I explained with the dollar Qwikify. So here I just use a function Qwikify to say, yeah, Qwikify this component. So yeah, make it interactive on the server for Qwik. And yeah, that's all for that's enough for simply incorporate the React library in Qwik. Just use the Qwikify function. So very easy. And yeah, to call it, you can call it thanks to that, like this, or thanks to MUI add button. Okay, and if you take a look, you have client visible here. So what I said is you can lazy load also or defer the interactivity of the button. So here I said, please, when the UI add button appears on the DOM, please make it dynamic. Okay. And finally, the two last things I want to show you is here the custom component resources. It's this component is very easy to use and very interesting because it takes a promise in value, okay, and you have 3 hooks: on pending, on rejected, on resolved. And on pending, you can display a specific component or display your specific logic. On rejected, you can display an error or something like this. And on resolved, you can show what you have to show when you retrieve the person. And finally, here you can see the dollar, but if I want to create the function on the server and make it just on the server, it's quite easy. You have just to have server and do your works. So if I do that, this function will be executed only on the server. And if I retrieve this like this function will be executed on the client. So switching on the server and on the client is just replace the dollar by the server dollar function. If you want to know what I have this, it's just because Qwik take a look of your cumul layout shift matrix, and at this moment he said me that the size of the image is not correct. So just do that. So yeah, another thing that he helped you to debug. Thank you. So yeah, you can follow me on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can add me. I will answer to you if you have a question. And now, if you have question, you can ask me if you want.